Imagine a world without choices. Imagine you can't make your own decision. That wouldn't be a world for me. That wouldn't be a world for you. UIC.
Tell them we're gonna be stronger. Together we can make it right. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. Gonna be stronger together. Time we all just unify. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. It is a natural right for every human being to be free. Free, so free. So the government is there to protect you and me. UIC objective is to liberate the citizens from colonial bondage, them regulation, them taxation. Rob Jamaica, we independent. Be stronger together we can make it right. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. We're gonna be strong.
Hello, Jamaica, and all well-wishers of Jamaica all around the world. Welcome, everybody, to the UIC Liberty TV channel. Wherever you are, I greet you, whether it's morning, afternoon, night. Now, for those of us who are joining us for the first time, I am Neil, the Vice President for Cornwall County for the United Independence Congress, and also Deputy General Secretary. Now, tonight, we'll be discussing the issue of opening a bank account. Now, we will be looking at the progress of the UIC's bank account, that is opening an account for the UIC in the name of the UIC. But we also hope to touch on opening accounts for us, for personal accounts, business accounts, accounts for charity, and so on. Now, we should be joined by representing industry from Jamaica Money Market Brokers, JMMB. I hope she gets on. I was getting through to her around 40 minutes before we start, but hopefully she gets on. Now, welcome to those who have joined us. I see Monica Foster, One Jamaica indeed, stronger together. Greetings, Monica. Craig McKenzie, welcome. Desmond Mary, EJW from Connecticut, USA, welcome. Craig McKenzie and Dr. Coretta Brown, welcome. VP Brown Johnson. Adrian Enriquez, welcome. And Carol Spence, One Perfect Love, definitely. All right, Kirk, glad to have you. VP Jasmine Powell. All right, so before we go into the progress of bank account application, and while we wait for the banking rep to appear, I hope she does, we just want to remind ourselves about what UIC stands for. I wonder if anybody in the chat, I don't want anybody on the NEC in this. If anybody knows the mission of the UIC. All right, welcome, Mr. President, Joseph Patterson. I see you there in the chat. Adrian Enriquez on Facebook. Yes, we hope that it is indeed an interesting discussion. All right, the mission of the UIC. Does anybody know what we're here for? Or our core values? While I wait on that, I want to just summarize. UIC is the only political party in Jamaica so far that aims to deliver us from colonialism, the grasp of colonialism and its effect on our people. Now, our economy, the state of our money, the state of our crime, the state of our education, all of these things, all of these pain points, lack of infrastructure, all of these are connected to the way we are, change the way that we are governed, and we recognize the rights of the people, but not give people their rights, but recognize and promote the rights of the people, then we automatically end up with a Jamaica that, and I'm going to be giving out a hint here, a Jamaica that brings out the best in all of us. And that is the vision of the UIC, a Jamaica that brings out the best in her people. All right. I don't see anybody coming with the mission of the UIC. Now, the UIC aims to create the non-partisan constitutional Republic of Jamaica that protects and promotes our rights, that is our rights to our life, our liberty, our property. It promotes and we aim to promote personal responsibility and to bring about a Jamaica in which there is a free and orderly free market society where all may live, earn, and retire in dignity. Now, now all of these components are important. Non-partisan means that, what just happened? Is everyone seeing me? My screen just blacked out a while ago. Am I still being seen and heard? All right, great. Partisan means that political parties do not play a part in appointment to government office, and political parties does not play a part in affecting important parts of national life. So people won't be kicked out of a job or hired because of their political affiliation. So we cut out a bit of that corruption there by being non-partisan, one Jamaica, not divided by color or party. A constitutional republic is one that, well, not gives, I correct myself there, one that recognizes the right of the people, the sovereignty of the people. Everyone is personally sovereign. And the highest law is that constitution that ensures that our rights are protected and promoted. The individual is the sovereign, not any parliament, not any congress, not any crown, not any common goal, but it is each and every person that is sovereign. Now, that is what UIC, that is the mission of the UIC, to promote our personal sovereignty. And we look at the other parts of our mission, promoting personal responsibility. Now, we know about people having rights, but if you have rights, you must have responsibility. So we want to create a Jamaica where everybody is accountable. Not accountable because we have a police state, but because we have developed such a culture through our method of governance that Jamaica becomes orderly, clean, respectful. And not do we defense to our life, because it's our life, to our liberty, which is ours, and our freedom, but we ensure that we protect those rights for other persons, thus promoting responsibility. And in addition, now we have a free, orderly society. We don't have it's safe, it's secure. We don't have this bag of crime that is going on now because there is accountability and order. And there's a free market society where the market is really determined by those who are in it. It's not a top-down approach where those at the top tell you what are the prices or what are the limitations. It is us, the persons who are the buyers and the sellers, who move the market so that our liberty is ensured, so that more money is in the system for everybody, and we can contain inflation. Why is it that crime is so high? That poverty and underemployment are so high? It's because of the way that we're governed. And the UIC wants to change all of that. No, it is a grassroots organization. Our movement is grassroots. It is for the people. Without the people, UIC cannot reach anywhere. So without the volunteering of the people, if you don't volunteer, your time and your effort and your treasure to build the UIC, then we in the NEC can't move it forward because we alone, our effort alone, our monetary contributions alone, our contributions in time alone, will never ever move the UIC forward. We want all Jamaicans on board. We want better to be on board with the UIC, not because we have any special loyalty to a leader or because we have any special loyalty to the party, but because we want a better Jamaica. No, Mr. Patterson is making a point clear. We will protect individual liberty and promote personal responsibility while empowering every citizen to realize their full potential. A Jamaica that brings out the best in all of us. Kick rocks, culture and mindset. Poverty is an excuse. It is. Poverty is a political tool. It's caused by governance, bad governance. So we want to just cut all of that. No. What is the price to pay for that? Those colonizers, the remnants of the colonizers, which we know today as those and funding the banking system, which we will be speaking of today, they do not want you to have your personal freedom. They don't want to recognize your personal sovereignty. And I have a problem with somebody controlling my movements. When we were under the lockdown for the 2 years, even the way we worship was affected because people could not go to their respective places of worship because a bunch of people decided that they would decide the medical choices for everybody and ignore other medical alternatives that worked. So the choice was made for us and we had to comply. UIC would give you the respect due to you having the right to exercise. No, this takes money. There is a saying, it takes money to care. So for each of us that contributes our time and our talent and our money, we help to build the movement. However, there is some concern with what is happening in the UIC in that the banking system will not grant us an account. Some persons may feel more confident that their monies are more secure in an account that is in the name of the UIC. Now, I will leave the treasurer to speak later on about how we ensure the highest amount of credibility and the highest amount of accountability in the handling the affairs, the financial affairs of the UIC. The fact is that some persons feel that if the UIC doesn't have a bank account in the UIC's name, then there is a problem. No, why is it that the UIC has not yet had a bank account in the name of the UIC? It is simply because we have been having challenges with getting the account. And so I will be looking at the process that we have been following so far and where we are in that. And I do hope that by the time I'm through, we have that banking representative on to speak about the requirements for opening accounts in Jamaica. Sonia Ellis, I see your request. Can someone explain in layman terms the comment made by Mr. Patterson? Well, I see here, non-partisan constitutional Republic of Jamaica. I did speak to that. Non-partisan means that political parties do not have any say in how we govern ourselves and how we conduct our lives in the new Jamaica that the UIC will bring into being. So political parties would no longer divide us. As it relates to the constitutional republic, We did say a republic protects our individual sovereignty. Now, the constitutional republic is one in which the highest law of the country, ensures that these rights are protected. Now, the second comment by Mr. Patterson was, we will protect individual liberty and promote personal responsibility while empowering their full potential. Now we can unpack this on this live and many other lives, but to summarize, we'll first we will protect individual liberty. The UIC promotes and protects. We preach the idea, and we will ensure that we execute this. I hope this is layman terms, that every single person is free. Our philosophy, it is a natural right of every human being to be free. It's our right to be free. So the UIC will ensure that we protect that freedom. Now, for this to be better understood, we look at the dimensions such as life, liberty, and property, the things that go towards personal sovereignty. So life is yours to do with as you choose. The government cannot tell you what to do with your life, nor can any other citizen. So long as you do not affect or impinge on anybody else's right to their life, to their freedom, and to their property. The government, no other individual can tell you what to do with your freedom. Your freedom is yours, unless you have abused somebody else's freedom and somebody else's right to their freedom and their life and their property. And your property, anything that you have bought or has been legally gifted to you, is yours. And the government has no right to take it from you, nor can anybody take it from you. So the UIC ensures that you are your own person and you do not belong to the government, to any individual, or to any corporation you exercise, as long as your free will does not affect anyone else and take away their own rights. Promoting personal responsibility means that as citizens, we will be encouraged through our culture shift, through our mindset shift, to be responsible. Each person not only has freedoms, but exercises these freedoms in a responsible way. And that the last part about empowering others to achieve their full potential would speak for itself. But now let us go to the matter of the bank account. Though to achieve this dream, we need to be funded. And one of the most efficient ways to do that is through the bank account. All right. Now, what has been happening? Now, we have been approaching banks since we have been registered as a political party, and they have been giving us the runaround. What we find with many of the banks is that they will agree to give us the account, and then after we have done all that they asked, there are other requirements. What I'm going to be focusing on, though, is this year, starting from January, and giving you some dates and what happened on those dates. Now, January 12th, 2023, Chase Neal, that's myself, went to Sagicor Bank, Ocho Rios, and I spoke to a representative. Now, this representative said that she was unsure about how to proceed in opening a bank account. She would get back to us. On January 16, the representative sent the requirements for opening a bank account with Sagicor. Now, on the 25th of January, the treasurer sent the required, and the admin assistant sent the required documents to the general secretary. That's the certificate of registration with the EOJ, the proof of address, articles of incorporation, and so forth. And these were taken physically in bank on February 3. Now, after several calls to the bank, we got no response. So on March 10 of this year, remember we left the documents February 3. On March, after getting no word, sent via email the documents, that is the certificate of registration or TRN, a copy of the last audited financial statement, all the documents that were required on March 10. Now on March 15, Sagicor requested a proof from the tax administration that UIC was exempt from taxes, and they also required a letter of good standing from the Companies Office of Jamaica. Now, in the submission on March 10, we had pointed them to the fact that, as stated in the audited financials, UIC is tax exempt. But although they saw it in the audited financials, they wanted proof from the tax administration of Jamaica and from the COJ. On 16, that the UIC is no longer under the domain of the COJ, since we are registered as per the political parties registration regulations that was passed in 2017. I, as in my role of General Secretary, sent them a copy of the political parties registration regulations, pointing them to the necessary parts for them to see that we were no longer under the purview of COJ, though we would have registered as a company back in 2016 under the COJ. So getting a letter of good standing would be problematic. On March 16 also, I, within the role of General Secretary, reported to the NEC that Sagicor was requesting the items that were pointed out that do no longer apply to us, as we are registered they represent and the political parties registration regulations. At that time, I also went to NCB. I spoke with NCB and left off the documents such as the registration with ECJ, Constitution of UIC, names and addresses of the Executive Council, and all the required documents on March 16. Now, on March 17, the members of the NEC advised myself as the General Secretary to go public about what was happening with Sagicor. Now, we had spoken to the ECJ to see if we could get a letter of good standing to substitute for that, which would have been provided by the Companies Office of Jamaica. We got no reply, and so Sagicor told us that they could not help us with the bank account. So that was dead right there. On March 17, the NEC advised the General Secretary to go public, Sagicor and NCB, but the General Secretary, that's myself, stated that he would rather give NCB the benefit of the doubt since they were not being problematic. And the NEC advised against this move. Now, on March 26th, the annual Members' Congress was held. A new General Secretary was elected. And so at the time, there was no a decision as to who would be signatories on the account. When the elected General Secretary could not find the time to be present at the bank, and other members who were signatories were held up because of work, I, as General Secretary, went in to the bank on April 23 to check on the progress of the application. And I was given a different set of requirements. That's on April 23. Now, since then, because of work complications, not all signatories could get in to the bank. Now, the information that was told to us was that all signatories needed to be present to open the bank account. And because one person especially the chairman could not find the time because of work, work clashes and schedule clashes. The account could not be opened. So because of that one thing, that one signatory could not be opened, that is since could not be present, that since April 23, we have been having that hold up. Now, a previous member of the NEC um, that went rogue and is no longer a member of the UIC started some rather mischievous claims and contacted the bank purporting to act on our behalf. And that prompted the bank manager to call me because she was concerned that there were claims that she had spoken to me personally as a representative of the UIC when that had not occurred. Now, while she was speaking with me, I shared with her the concerns that we have been in limbo with the documents. And at that time, on July 7, is when the bank manager confirmed that the documents that were released from March 16 were received by the bank. Now, since that date, July 7, we have been waiting because we have been told that the next step now is to forward the documents to the Bank of Governors, to the Board of Governors, sorry, of NCB, and they would determine whether or not we would get the account. Now, calls to the manager and to the rep with whom I had been speaking before have gone unanswered. I went in branch on last Friday, and I was told that neither of them were at the branch. We have not yet heard from the bank as to whether the Board of Governors have received the documents, and this is where we are now as it relates to the bank account. All right, now, in order for you to appreciate um, some of the conversations that we have been having with the bank, I want to show you some emails that were shared between us and the banks so you can see for yourself our engagement with the banks. Nika, can you bring up that first video, please? All right, thank you. All right, so, all right, this is the second one. Do you have that first one? All right, this would have been the second. All right, so while we wait for that to come up, I hope that we appreciate what has been going on, this run around with the banks. So you see here that on March 10, we'd have sent a letter to this client service rep from Ocherius branch, Sagicor, Jamaica. Just let it play. All right, so you would have seen now the certificates, the articles of incorporation, all the documents that would have been requested. Now, pause there. The explanation that as a political party, the UIC is tax exempt as explained in the audited financial statements. As such, a TCC could not be produced because that was one of the requirements. But I requested the requirements for a business account, despite us explaining that we are a non-profit. Um, Now, I explained there that a political party continues to be in good standing by submitting the annual audited financial statements, which were provided there, and declaring the intention to continue as a political party, which would have been provided by the voluntary declaration. All right, I continue. The signatories were identified. Yes, let it play, please. Just let it go on. All right. And those are the documents that would have been added to the email. Bear in mind that this was after they were delivered to the branch and there was no response. The rep is confirming that we confirm that we have been exempted from taxes, and also the letter of good standing, as was explained in the summary before. All right, let's go on. I think that is 15th of March. I think that's the date there. All right, and now on the 16th of March would have been my explanation as who are the directors of the company as provided for the document that we would have left them and so forth. So you would have seen that we have been communicating with the banks. Now, after receiving this request for the tax compliance certificate, although it was already explained in the letter and in the documents that we are tax exempt, then and in the second video, what the difficulties were. All right, so give us this second video. Like I assume get you on after we look at these videos. So he says, good day team, I just spoke with the person from Sagicor. She consulted with the superior officers. No, by the way, this is important. When we speak with the reps face to face, they are usually welcoming and want to give us the account. But when it is that they speak to their superior officers, then there's the problem. So I informed the NEC at the time. This is what, March 16? I think it was the 15th, the first message would have been. And then advise him I would be heading to NCB. Now, Mr. President, just in this message now, would have responded, when will we go public? Now, said, thanks for the update, and we need to go public, too much running around. Mr. Patterson then asked that it be someone apart from him. The president does not involve himself directly in the accounts of the UIC. And if you see there, it says, I don't know, Janet, but I'm hoping someone else can take this instead of me again. No, I responded, I am giving NCB benefit of the doubt. I hope it's clear at 17th of March. They have not given me any problems. Let it play. Now, what is being said in the public could be said to be partially my fault because I did not go public as was requested, because I thought that we probably would have been making enemies of the bank if we just go there and record. No, the advice to go public was because of the banks have been giving us 2019 and even before. But I thought that this was a new bank. Instead of us doing that, let us just give them benefit of the doubt. You would have seen there at the end that Mr. Patterson said that's a bad move. Now, if we had gone public, then some of the questions that are being asked and the allegations that have been made by some enemies of the UIC, and I call them enemies of the people because if we have a movement that is set to make the lives of Jamaicans better and to bring out the best in Jamaicans, if you're trying to destroy the movement, you're trying to destroy Jamaicans' prospects. So if we had really gone public and done it before now, then what is being said now by those who seek to detract from the movement could not have been said. So that may have been an error of judgment on my part. All right. Now, and Mr. Patterson is saying that the banking sector, something came on my screen. Am I being heard? All right. All right, great. So Mr. Patterson made a comment, the banking sector is corrupt as the government, and that is true. Queen Bee, there's a deliberate move to omit the UIC from everything. Mr. Patterson says, as a political party, we are duly registered for the banks, but the banks pretend to be ignorant of the facts and how to easily verify the same. That is what is been going on now. Wade Noble, without vision, the people perish. Mr. Patterson corrects. Maybe I've said something wrong. We are not a non-profit. We are a political party. We are a political party, not a non-profit. All right. So you see the runaround that we have been getting, and you see why. And this is just 2023. If we are supposed to look at 2022, 2021, you get headaches. Now, the the persons, and I want to emphasize this because I don't want to victimize the persons at the front. Because in my experience, when I speak with the what are they called, the customer reps, the bank clerks, even the bank managers, they are excited to hear about a third party. They are excited to hear about what the UIC stands for. But when the documents go up to the board, when they go up to the board, and those persons now who are controlled and funded by the remnants of the colonizers, PSOJ, then we get all sort of run around and ifs and buts and new requirements. It happened to us with NCB recently when the documents were that they required were given on March 16. On April 23, we got another set of requirements. And if the former general secretary was not kicking up our ruckus and being mischievous, then we would not have received a call from the bank manager of NCB to and what she said to me, that I was being misinformed by the tellers, the customer care representatives that we were dealing with since March 16. Whether this is another runaround or not, I hope it is not, especially because I know this person outside of Bank of Integrity. The fact is that we have been given the wrong information prior to, well, that is what she said, prior to that phone call on July 7th. So we see that out of mischief and malice, good can be accomplished, because if it wasn't that, if it wasn't for the fact that this former member of the UIC was trying to be mischievous and cause all sort of confusion, then the person, the bank manager, would not have been able to call me and set things straight. Now, we have been waiting since July 7. We will be approaching other banks in the meantime. Hopefully, we do get that account at NCB, since the manager has put herself into it. I have not been able to contact her since then. I checked and she wasn't there. Neither was the customer rep that I spoke with before. So this is where we're at. Now, I'm not seeing the bank rep from JMMB that would have spoken to us about the requirements to open a personal account, business account, charity account, and political account, so that we would be clear. And we would have hoped to have a discussion on why it is that she thinks it is so difficult for political parties to get a bank account. That is from the point of view of someone in the industry. For those of you who would have watched our last live video, where we had a conversation with, I think it was Antwain Campbell, I think that's his name, if I'm not mispronouncing his name, from the JPM. I think he's also a member of Marcus Garvey People's Political Party. He would have stated that both the JPM and the Marcus Garvey People's Political Party have been having challenges opening an account too. So we wonder what is really going on. Angor, yes, you are correct. The question is, am I correct in saying that the banks are part of the PSOJ that Mr. Patterson has educated us on? Yes, the banks, especially the CEOs and so forth, are a part of the, well, the institutions are part of the private sector organization of Jamaica. All right, Mr. Patterson is giving some context here. We have applied to NCB, to CIBC, to JMMB, to JN, VMBS, Sagicor, etc. from 2016 until now. But they always find a way to delay and then deny us an account. Yes, and I just started doing this delay. No, Mr. Patterson quoted JN, and every time I think of the time I called JN, I have to wonder what have we come to. When I asked the requirements to open an account at JN, and the person with whom I spoke said that we need a letter from the Minister of Finance because they don't want to get in trouble. So that was the end of the discussion with Jane, because there was no way that we were going to write to the Minister of Finance for permission to open a bank account. So I hope that we appreciate what has been going on in as it relates to the UIC getting a bank account. Now, I want to make it clear though that there are persons who would have been part of the NC who I can see no other way to put it, but they must have been plans, would have known this information and misconstrue the information, twist it in such a way to make it seem as if the UIC has not been reaching out to the banks, which is why I shared some of these emails to really leave a paper trail. And these persons were privy to this information. Now, I want Jamaican people to understand what has been going on and what has been causing the UIC, and based on what was put forward by Mr. Campbell on the last live by other parties, such as the Marcus Garvey People's Political Party and the movement which is known as the Jamaica Patriotic Movement. Now, I'm going to be taking some comments, and then our treasurer, Miss Naika Williams. Jamaica Avenue says, why the people of Jamaica are not running with the UIC? It's the only way for Jamaica to move forward. Jamaica Avenue, remember what they did with Marcus Garvey. I don't know if our people are truly prepared to really fight and engage ourselves in our own deliverance, in our own independence. We look for a savior to do everything for us. And I think this plays into the tribal politics that we see now. But for us to get ourselves involved and put ourselves into the mix as part of the process and work, we have to do education, because it is through education that we change the mindset and get people to be engaged. So for those of you who are watching the live, who really want to see a better Jamaica, I implore you to get the word out. If Chase Neal is not saying it in such a way that your members of your community can understand, and you understand what I'm saying, then you can translate the message, show them the video, and then translate it for them, as someone had asked in the chat before, because we need Jamaica to understand what is going on. The UIC shall make Jamaica great again. Yes, Wade Noble, even greater than what we expect. All right, I see that I lost it. Yes, Queen Bee, they're playing blind, dumb, and deaf. Yes, they are. Made a comment that the former General Secretary knows all of this but chose to deceive. That is heartbreaking. So but we have to stand strong and do what we need to do for the betterment of Jamaica. And this time the system fly the gateway double. I agree with you. And there is a deliberate move. I see a comment from Queen Bee. There is a deliberate move to omit the UIC from everything. And I was speaking with a pastor recently about having a function at his church, and he was saying that he doesn't know about the UIC. So not only are we blocked from the banking sector, we're blocked from the media. In my role as general secretary last year, I would have sent a number of press releases to the TV stations, radio stations, to the newspapers, and they carried nothing. On every one of the national issues that have come up, UIC has had something to say about it. We have spoken even from not what they would call a political point of view, but just a general point of view suggesting solutions, but still they will not um, carry our content. So we have to depend on social media and the use of social media, such as yourself, such as all of us here, to get the message across Jamaica. And we know social media reach everywhere. Look at that. Look at that viral thing, drift. Everybody drifting, even people who don't understand English. Everybody adrift. We see even before that catch a hat thing that took viral all around the world. So we can do it. Now, the, there is also a question that has been circulating because of misinformation out there about the UIC opening a bank account in in overseas in Canada. I think it was, yes, in Canada, um, that we have given the go ahead to open a bank account in Canada and to use personal um, use personal accounts for the purpose of the UIC. That is false, and I see a document purporting to be the minutes of the diaspora. Um, just to put it out there that that is not so. Well, it is not a complete minutes, and that words were used to create an impression that is not true. And there are persons who are trying to destroy this prospect of a political revolution, of a cultural revolution, educational revolution for Jamaica, financial revolution, to satisfy their personal desires. Um, Now, I don't know about you, but I find that despicable. Now, what we realize is that these persons who try to attack the UIC will never go to the one source, to the one that can do something about it, the ECJ. The ECJ has the power to shut down the UIC if the UIC's operations are less than credible. If we go to the ECJ's website and we look at the commissioners of ECJ, we see that they are all politicians from JLP and PNP. These persons are looking at our accounts and looking at our operations. All right, so so I'm welcoming Naika Williams to get in on the conversation here because she's really the treasurer, and she will be speaking of how our account is is managed, or we ensure transparency. No, so the CJ is the one that can show down, and in all the news that are spreading online, not once have they appealed to the ECJ because the ECJ already knows what is going on in the UIC. All right, so Naika, as for transparency, accountability, how does the Office of the Treasurer conduct this affair?
Okay, thank you, Chase. Good night, everybody. I hope I'm being heard clearly. Okay, thank you. No, the Office of the Treasurer is pretty much the person who is responsible for, managing the finances of the organization to ensure that nothing or no money at all is being misrepresented, misused, or misappropriated in any way, shape, or form. Now, the idea is out there that the funds are being held in Mr. Patterson's personal account and so forth. But the VP Chase Neal has just explained the issues that we've been having in opening an account for the organization, and to date we still haven't been granted an account from any bank that we've approached, right? So, one second. Okay. So that explains why that account is used, and that's a donated account to the organization. Now, what persons need to understand is that funds in that account is not mixed with any other or any personal funds of the Pattersons, right? That is just for strictly UIC funds. If we did not have that account, what else would we pretty much use at this point? They're the only ones who are willing to donate that to the organization, right? That account now has 3 signatories attached to it, who two of the 3 rather has to authorize a transaction before it is done. And I must point out that none of those signatories are the Pattersons. So it's the treasurer, the general secretary, well, in this case it is now our VP here on screen, and the chairman. So we're the 3 persons who are the signatories on that account, and even the ones that we're looking to open, we're the persons who will sign off on any transaction there. Now, I must backtrack to one of the screen recordings that you had on screen, Chase, where the bank, I think it was Sagicor, was asking for proof that the UIC is a tax exempt group, right? Okay, just to add to that, we have even reached out to the ECJ to get proof to say that, as a political party, we're tax exempt. And the response that we got from them is that that's a strange request, so they would have to advise themselves how to proceed with what we're asking for. When pretty much it's simply a letter that we're asking for to say, hey, political parties are tax exempt, so all of that should have been covered in just one little letter. And to this day, we have not even received that from the ECJ. In addition to that, to point out that, our funds are pretty much secured, everything is in line. The ECJ is a body combined, or rather that involves or includes persons of the people from the 2 political parties, right? We submit an audited financial every year to that body. If something was wrong with our financials, do you think the UIC would even still be in existence? I don't think so, because they pretty much don't want a third party to even exist in the first place. It was pretty much a challenge to even become a registered party, right? So Mr. Patterson would have mentioned in the chat saying, the UIC aims to empower Jamaicans to reach their full potential. This is one of those times where we need to recognize that that's what the UIC is trying to do. We need to look at stuff, not just take things as they come, not be gullible and just ingest everything as, please just try to question things. There are a lot of things being put out there about the UIC and bank account and finances, that you should cease donations and so forth. That is pretty much just a tactic to kill the UIC. We have to focus on these things, read between the lines. Some things just don't make sense. Do you agree with me, Chase?
Totally. The thing is, we need every Jamaican who means Jamaica well on board. Not only to give, but to help us in operations, getting things done. No, things cannot be done. We cannot do this if we are not funded. We cannot depend on those who are the gatekeepers and the funders of the current system to do it for us. So we have to do it for ourselves. So if we don't fund it, who will? No, 20 Kevron asked a question. So no bank or billing society or credit union are willing to open a bank account. We do have a bank account with the we have an account with the PC Bank, the People's Cooperative Bank, in the name of the UIC, by the way. So for the persons who are saying that we don't have an account in the name of the UIC, that is not true. We do have an account with the PC Bank in the name of the UIC. But the thing with the PC Bank is it does not facilitate, what is it called, digital transfers?
Right. Their system
Yes.
is pretty much outdated a bit.
Yeah. So if you want to make a contribution to the UIC, and you want to contribute to the current bank, or we're not a union that is in the of the UIC, then you have to walk in a PC branch which is close to you and make that deposit in person over the counter. So there's no way for you to transfer from your account as is made available with the present account that has been donated by the president. But if you want to be, if you feel more secure making your donation to an account in the name of the UIC, you can go to our page, uicjamaica.com, and click donate, and you will see the details for our PC Bank. You can take the account number down and find the nearest branch to you and make your deposit at the PC Bank, knowing that it's in the name of the UIC.
Thank you for
All
that,
right.
Chase. I was seeing a couple of comments earlier, following the live when it just started, where persons, even just as a regular individual, they were pretty much sharing their concerns or challenges they have in opening an account. Now, if for just a regular individual you're having those challenges, let's not even focus on the organization at this point. Even if you are a politically exposed person, for example, it's pretty much even harder. It's way harder for you to even get an account. I opened an account in about, I think it was 2016 with NCB. Now, I wasn't even an adult at that time, so it was a smooth process for me in a sense. The other day, I approached another organization, which is JN, to open an account for myself, and I got the response that we're now getting for the UIC. So it didn't include that part about writing a letter to the finance minister and so forth. But they're telling me now that I have to submit my documents first. Then they have to get permission from the head office to give me an appointment to come in and open an account because I'm a politically exposed person.
Oh yes, I have had that. I've had that experience recently. So it's not only the political movement that is faced with red tape. Once you are politically involved, then the banks start to regard you with much caution. If caution is the word to use, they're hesitant. And not only the banks, but places such as courts. Can you imagine courts? Because Guardian Life Insurance. Because maybe I should not be calling a particular company's name. I don't mean to put anybody in blacklist. Insurance companies and merchants seem to be very slow to do business with you when you are politically exposed. Now, I don't want to say this to dissuade anybody from serving as a candidate of the UIC. Just want you to know that there is the possibility of this happening. Now, there are some comments in the chat that amount to the question of why would they do this. This question was asked of me too by the pastor with whom I was speaking. No, I want us to appreciate, that the UIC's method of governance. Let us not even look at the 10-point plan that will benefit Jamaicans and the education and the manifesto and all of that. The governance structure that we are coming with it is no for the present political system. It's a threat, and for those that fund them, the masses, the PSOJ backers, because for those of us who would have been with UIC Liberty TV for a while, we would have known, and some of you might be hearing it for the first time, that under UIC governance, all campaigns will be state funded. There will be no private funding of campaigns. So how would you enter politics under UIC government? You would have to apply for the position. You would have to pass a governance test, a basic governance test to really indicate that you are fit to govern, because it doesn't really make sense. You want to involve yourself in governing and you don't know economics and basic civics and all of that. Then once you would have passed the test, you would have done an interview. You would be audited publicly to ensure that we're not bringing no criminals in the system. So the test, the interview, the audit, and you have passed that, then you are able to be nominated. And then when you get your nomination, then you will be funded by the state. So these big businesses now would lose their hold over the system, because right now they fund the two major parties. No. And because they are the major source of funds, they're able to tell the parties, whether they're in governance or opposition, what to do. So that our government really is not run by the people, but run by those who fund them. No, we are saying that there can be no private funding for any candidate who would have passed through the process before they can be elected. The state will pay for everybody, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whatever socioeconomic status you come from. You would have had equal. You would have had equal footing as everyone else, and that's a threat to them. I see the chairman has joined us. Welcome, Sir Winston Wright.
Good evening, Brother Neil. Madam Treasurer,
All
good
right.
evening.
Good evening.
All right. Do you have anything to add to the discussion? No, or do I?
I just joined. I'm actually at work still.
Okay.
See.
So why is it that the PSOJ and those that they in control of through funding them and managing their affairs, why would they want to block us? Because them lose them power. They lose their power to control the affairs of Jamaican people. They lose their power to divide the people. No, and that is the crux of it. No, one of our 10-point plans, one point on our 10-point plan is to prosecute all politicians and those affiliated with them who have been involved in corruption and abusing the people. If you were in government and party to that, you would not want such a movement to come into government, because that means you in trouble and your brethren in trouble and your family who involved with all of that in trouble. Look at Senator Royal Reid. Where is Senator Royal Reid? If I were even a tenth of what him thief, misappropriated, then I would be locked up. But he is still out there walking around. Now, can you imagine a system that will ensure that them get locked up? George Wright was implicated, was captured on video, but it is said he's implicated in alleged abuse, although it's on video. and he's walking around. If that were a common man, and I use that phrase loosely, what would have happened? No, UIC sees everybody equally. If you commit the crime, you pay the consequence. That is a threat to the powers that be. So I do not I totally understand why they would not want us to get a bank account so that we would be able to achieve the full confidence of the Jamaican people. I totally understand why they would not want us on the media, because if more persons heard about this, then more persons would want to be online. Well, I didn't mean online right now. I mean on board with the UIC. No, even our total governance structure cuts out corruption because one man can control the show like before. First of all, we're not going to be electing an MP just because we want a party leader to win, because we elect under the UIC government. Some MPs are elected separate from the leader of the government, or national leader. So you elect a national president separate and apart from MPs. So if MPs want to get into governance office, them have to work, and they cannot just rest on the comfort of knowing that people will vote for them because they want a leader in. We start to ruffle them feathers there, so with that policy. Bear in mind that the president, not a prime minister, but cut out governor general, him don't have no more work now. So he will not want this to come into being. So no governor general, we have one president who is held accountable by the structure that we have. Three elected independent VPs who are elected by the people in each county. And the president cannot just give an order as he will, an executive order that is not accepted by the VPs who are independent. Mind you, there's no party thing coming in again, and they are elected by the people, so they would not have had any connection to each other prior. So, and then we have the independent elected senators who are also another level of accountability. So less corruption and siphoning of money. We have MPs touching the people's money because we're going to have ministers or secretaries, could be another term, who are subject matter experts who are vetted publicly by the Senate and elected in based on those who would have passed the vetting. They would have been then elected by the representatives or the MPs as we know them now. So you can't just come into politics because you're linked to somebody else. You have to pass some processes, and there is a lot of accountability, and you can't touch certain things you used to touch because people are going to hold you accountable. So they would not want this system in being to come into play. And that means that this loss that we have annually, that close to 1 billion US every year, would now be kept in Jamaica instead of being sent overseas for the benefit of Jamaicans, so that we see now that because we have ensured accountability and transparency in the system, then the lives of Jamaicans will get richer. And those who abuse and thief with things now would find that they can't do it, and they're going to get locked up. And although they get locked up, they still have to pay back what them thief. I put in a
Brother
little.
Neil, Brother Neil,
Yes, Mr. Chair.
I need your help with one thing. You mentioned almost $1 billion US lost through corruption. People don't understand what that means for the country.
Oh,
So
political corruption specifically.
yes, political corruption specifically.
Yes.
Thank you. Let's lay it out for the people how this affects us. So $1 billion. The national budget that was just read is $1 trillion, largely financed by debt, meaning our government is going out there to borrow $1 trillion to finance this year operations of the government, right? And out of that $1 trillion, it is estimated that 1 billion will end up being lost to corruption. Now, remember the budget is largely financed by debt. So that amount of money being lost means what? No schools being built, no new schools, that is. Right? Teachers and schools not being properly resourced. Right? So the 20% that the teachers get, they're lucky they got that, as opposed to some other people's 200%. Right? The roads won't get fixed. So that affects commerce because roads will be poor. It'll cost you more, for example, for your minimum wage housekeeper to get to work. So, for example, in my rural community where the roads are absolutely atrocious, a 45 minutes drive takes me about an hour and 15 minutes. And if I am to traverse faster than that, which is still within the legal speed limit, then I end up with a hefty repair bill for my car. And that hefty repair bill means my menial salary is now stretched for additional expenses. You follow? So think about the taxi man now that has to be on the road every day. He will always be protesting for a fare increase because it's costing him more in upkeep for his car. You follow? The nurses now, let's talk about healthcare. The nurses, right, in addition to being delayed and frustrated in traversing the work, those who rely on public transport, we have to squeeze up 8 and 9 in a 7-seater legally. That is legally accepted. When they finally get to work after the battering on the road and being so tired, they're told that their union can only negotiate a paltry increase. Right? And that paltry increase can offset the cost of living that is spiraling out of control because transportation of goods from the major town centers and markets into other areas is now more expensive because the truck driver have to pay more in parts because the roads are so bad. And if you see the ripple effect that I'm talking about, people should understand that $1 billion is no joke, because now the next year you have to think about finding money to pay that back while it's sitting in somebody's pocket. So that is the ripple effect of that $1 billion. I just had to pause to point that out.
All right, 1 billion US in Jamaican currency though, because I realize you just mentioned the budget, current budget for Jamaican government. Now, as is reported by several sources, year by year we lose approximately 1 billion US, not Jamaican, mind you, to political corruption. Now, in Jamaican dollars, this is 154 trillion 537 billion $600 million. So 154 trillion dollars Jamaican over that is lost every year because of political corruption,
And
specifically.
when they say lost,
More than the budget. More than the budget is lost every year. Because man, them sit down what they send overseas. Can you imagine if that was in the country? Almost 155 trillion Jamaican dollars.
Chase, you just mentioned something very important. Firstly, you said loss. And when we say loss, we don't mean that the money disappeared. We mean that it was diverted to other than prescribed means. And it went somewhere else. Right? Also, we talk about how we deal with corruption. And I see somebody with a question, what institution the UIC will create to deal with corruption? We only need one institution, and it's called law. That's the only institution we need. We need a system of law that protects everyone equally, protects you and I from both the legal and the illegal criminals by making sure that there is no fraud in any of our relationships. Now, here it is. If we have a strong police force, not the JCF, but a Jamaica Police Service that is so empowered to respect, one, the rights of citizens, and two, to act impartially as part of the judiciary, to identify, investigate, and prosecute corruption, then we are fine. What we have currently are several pieces of the judicial pie, and it was deliberately created so, firstly by the colonial master, so they can control these little pockets in different ways and therefore create interference in the justice system. When you look at it, justice is only seen to be done when it's the poor man. The rich man always seem to escape justice. And when I say rich, I'm not asparaging rich people. What I meant was those who have the resources to pay for lawyers and pay into the corrupt system will always get away with things. And you wonder how comes? How come this ruling was handed down? How come the judgment went this way? It's because the judiciary in Jamaica isn't impartial. It is being hindered along the way and being framed. When you look at a sitting member of the Senate who is an active member of the bar and represents a certain element that is also active in the criminal underworld, then you wonder how justice can be impartial. When he's sitting in the Senate, is he thinking about his client or how this law will impact his client? His judgment and deliberation in the Senate, does it construe around his practice and how it will impact his practice? You understand? We definitely need a judiciary that is able to function in a very impartial manner and is supported by an independent police service. And of course, that has to be built on the background of a constitution that is solid, that is for the people, by the people, and protect the right to life, liberty, and your hard earning, your property of everyone equally, not just the man on the hill, everyone. So if the thief your goat and then thief my car, is the same thief.
All right. Thank you, Sir Wright. And I see Mr. Patterson adding to that. So in addition to the judiciary that would have been improved and the police service that is effective and well resourced, and the constitution that protects the rights of the people. Mr. Patterson is reminding us also that the very design of government under UIC will ensure that we prevent corruption. So nobody can slip by us, thief anything, because the checks and balances that are built into the system will ensure that that does happen. And also, the system will already, from the outset, cut out those persons who are coming in with these devious intentions. So it seeks them out, and for those who pass through and come through, then the system of governance keeps them in line. All right.
If I can interrupt you, Brother Chase, and I'm not taking away your program.
That's all right.
I just noticed a very interesting question from a gentleman. Well, I presume, apologies if you're not, Blackheart Radio. Let me ask a question. If the election is called to, and I'm assuming today, how much seats can the UIC realistically contest? The UIC's ability to contest in the next general election is largely dependent on you, the Jamaican people. And no, this is not a regular elevator pitch. Hear me out. In Eastern Westmoreland, I'm a simple and humble young man that gets up every day from the age of 18 since I left school, made my way to work and back home. I don't have friends in the streets. I don't have gangster parties. I don't have no chargy. I don't have any of those things. I go home to my family. And my 3 kids are important to me. And so are the neighbors' kids who usually come in the summer by my house to play with my kids. Now, I want a better Jamaica for them, not a debt-ridden Jamaica. I remember 2.5 years ago, I think, Brother Chase, I did a program analyzing, and you can go back to Liberty TV and see this program still. The numbers would have changed, but the message is still there. I did a program analyzing Jamaica's debt, and I mentioned that a newborn Jamaican at that time, a young baby just out your mother's womb, would have owed several $100,000 US in sovereign debt because of the government failure to implement a system of budgeting that would allow for a fiscal measure that don't allow them to go over budget. Right? And Naika, you can help me with the exact term. So the government would not under law be able to spend more than it can earn. Okay? And the president has elaborated on our financial plans and indicated how in law this would work. Now, when you look at a small movement like the UIC, we are reliant on our members' kindness. We are reliant on you saying, I want a change. Because I want a change, so I volunteered my time and my family's treasure. And if you want a change, you must support the UIC so that we can get out there in those communities and be that representative that you need. Now, I say support and everybody thinking money and all of that. No, that's not the only way to support the UIC. There is a teacher in your community right now that is disgruntled, that has the smarts, the wear it all to be your representative. He or she's a respected member of your community, respected member of the church, but does not know about the UIC or does not know how to stand for their community. So I'm saying to you, go to that member in a group of 10 and say, member of my community, I respect how you have lived your life. I respect what you have done for our community. And we would like for you to stand and represent our community. And as a matter of fact, there's an independent organization, independent of the colonial system, that will accept you, called the UIC. Their manifesto is on their website. Here it is. Please read. And if you share those values, we want you to represent us. We 10 are here as a start of that support, and we will help you find others. Of course, if you don't have the time for that, find time to donate $1, $10, $1,000. Better yet, join. And if you have internet skills, we'll accept you. We'll love your help. If you have computer skills, we'll accept your help. If you have mathematical or numerical skills like our treasurer does, we'll accept your help. Better yet, if you're a lawyer, we desperately need your help because we're being victimized. So I say to you, don't ask what the UIC can do for Jamaica, but ask what you can do for the UIC. And then the UIC in turn will do for all of us. So I'm standing in Eastern Westmoreland. I've put my shyness aside. I've said to my family, let us do this. My wife now supports us. My mother supports us. My younger brother is still on the fence, I'll be honest, but he's apolitical. But I expect family loyalty to win. He knows I'm an honorable person. My now young adult daughter supports me. And even my young kids support me. Because they know that their father is a reasonable, respectable, and honorable man and would only do the best for them. And that best extends to every member of my community, because my father taught me that if you want the best for your kids, you have to want the best for everybody's kids, because you never know who your child will marry. So that is a philosophy I live by. So I'm imploring every single one of you to join the UIC. But hold on. If you're confused about what UIC stands for, please stay away. If you're confused about what you stand for, please stay away. But if you want real change, something different from the colonial poison we have been fed for the past 80 years, the failing systems, the lack of healthcare, the stolen resources, and the grafting to family riches and dynastic rule in Jamaica, you're welcome. Most importantly, if you have turncoat ambitions, if you intend to be our Benedict honor like the others have been, stay far. Me not like traitor. So, support us, man. What do you have to lose? Brother Chase.
I'm looking at uncensored reasonings questions, and the reasoning really uncensored. All right, so yeah, uncensored reasoning is asking some questions here. I don't want to miss them. All right, so one question here is, how are we so sure as members of the UIC you won't be exempted from these laws? There is no way for us to prove to you that we are as honorable as we claim to be. That's just the truth. There is no way for us to prove to you that we are as honorable as we say.
But there is one way. And that way is for you to put your trust in what we have demonstrated. We haven't had 80 years of deception. We have not deceived you for 80 years. We have not stolen your riches for 80 years. We have not been gatekeepers to the economy to exclude you for 80 years. What we have promised to do is open up the economy. And we will have to do that in 4 years. You have 4 years to judge us as opposed to 80 years of those guys. And I can guarantee you in that 4 years, we would have done more than they can do. But let's not bury ourselves in rose-colored glasses and fairy tale. I've always said this. The fight to get the UIC in the government to change it will also be a fight to keep the UIC in government. So, and that is why turncoats aren't welcome, because it is going to be a difficult hill to climb. And I've resigned myself to helping the UIC and helping my fellow Jamaicans. Stop talking, man. Action talk, not a bag of mouth. So, join the UIC. Come over here where you are doing more than talking. It's good to be a social media warrior. It's good to be behind the screen. It's good to be anonymous. I used to love that until Joseph L. Patterson challenged me to put my money where my thoughts are. And I've done that. I've contributed. I've served. And I'm looking for others greater than me, more brilliant than me, to take the reins and take us home. Brother Chase.
Myself, so right. I prefer to be in some bush in the hills meditating to myself. I like that mystic thing, and UIC has drawn me out of the bush to meet the people. So
Exactly.
if to tell the truth, if I could have passed this cup on to somebody else like Jesus had requested, somebody worthy, I would have, but I'm not being let off the hook, so I will do my best to represent the people. But to add to what Mr.
Listen,
Wright said, hold on, Winston. We cannot change your mind or make you sure that we are honorable. The thing is, what you know is what you get with the other two parties. What we put forward to you is not our own integrity, but the structure of the UIC, the policies of the UIC. This is what Jamaica needs. It's not about we, because we can change. Honestly, we can
yeah,
change. Winston may find somebody in his constituency who is better suited to run as an MP candidate. And I am sure Winston will yield the seat up to that person and support. I would do the same.
I
And the
gladly will.
other MP candidates would do the same if we find others. So it's not really about we, it's about the message, because I might not be on that ballot. Hopefully, I am, if I am the best, but if not, somebody better will be on the ballot, and I will be supporting that person to go forward. But to add to a question that was asked before, so we'll go to you with taking the time from you.
No
We will
problem.
win as many seats as you, the people, help us win. How many seats will you help us win? And that's the question we put to you. We do our part. We need you to do your part, because we don't have the backing from the corporate sponsors as the other parties. We need you, the people. All right, Winston, giving you back the floor.
Thank you. I'll only take a minute because I see Blackheart Ray with another question. Who is the other party candidate, and do I think I have the means to win? I know those candidates, and they are from the old colonial school, and they have not been in the community. The community is still without piped water. And solid waste management is still atrocious. Okay, the roads are still horrible, and Naik has been through my area, so she knows. Employment levels are low. Farmers has no markets for their output, and I can continue. And for each one of those, I have a plan, and I've been walking my community and discussing it with the people, and trying to get the people to understand how change can come without me handing them $5,000 in a T-shirt. But here's the thing: it's hard work and it's slow work. Monday to Friday, I'm at work. Saturday and Sundays, I've abandoned my family, essentially, and I'm on the road. Right? And I'm driving to places and I'm going to places and I'm meeting 1, 2, and 3, and 4 persons because I don't have the resources of big meetings. So I'm going to people's home. I'm meeting them on their verandas. I'm meeting them in the bars, wherever I can. Right? But the fact is this: I've already implemented a social program that has done more for my community than the other two politicians in the time that they have been there. Now, I intend to propagate that throughout the entire constituency if the people give me a chance. because I believe in teaching people how to fish instead of feeding them for the day. So that is how I know I will beat those others if the people allow me to beat them. It's not about me. And that is why the system is rigged by the PSOJ with big money. So they can buy the people's votes in the immediate, even though they have failed them throughout the other 4 or 3 years that they were there representing them. I don't have that ill intent. I don't even want that. What I want to do is uplift my people, just like Marcus Garvey preached, just like Marcus Garvey had planned. Simply that. I'll yield the floor, Brother Chase.
All right, so our time is really finished. But before we just wrap up, I want to just answer a question. I think it was Uncensored Reason who had asked why it is that I just want to do this quickly, why it is that we don't get together a group of investors. What we find that those who are there so far that we have spoken with are not willing to invest without getting some control of the UIC operations or changing the policies. And we can't afford that. This is what is happening now in the current system, and the UIC cannot be. If there are any investors who have bought into the philosophy of the UIC or objectives or our plans and want to, out of their good heart, to support without trying to control or change the way we operate, we are open, but we have not found those persons so far. Now, thank you, everyone, for coming out. We started out with the topic of opening a bank account in Jamaica. Unfortunately, the rep from the bank did not get on with us tonight to share from her perspective as someone in the banking field. We hope that we can do another live where we get 1 or 2 members of the banking field on to really lay this before us as Jamaicans so we understand what's going on. But in the meantime, we have looked at the shortcomings, the challenges, the back and forth that we have been experiencing in opening the bank account. Now, there are persons who are calling malicious persons, and some of them, I believe, are misinformed. Maybe I'm too nice, but I do believe that some persons have been misinformed by those with malicious intent, who are calling for there to be no donations to the UIC unless we open a commercial bank account in the name of the UIC. Now, if it is that the banking system is holding us at ransom, that means we will never get any funding then, if that is the call. Now, we have to make up our minds as to what is it we want for Jamaica. Do we want a Jamaica in which we are empowered to achieve our best potential? That we do have to fly go to Canada or USA or England to make life, but we can live in our own country and earn, retire, dead in dignity. If we want that, if we want to own our own selves, then it's not going to come free. Chase Neil, do I have the money if you pay for all of that? I want to tell you that. So Chase Neil pays his part and pays more than his membership fee. Not going to disclose anything like that. But not everybody can do that. But as so long as you can do that and you want to see the Jamaica that we have been putting forward to you, put your money where the mouth is. And if you don't have the money, then spread the word, get involved, because we need help. We need graphic designers, we need lawyers, we need PR specialists. We need people on the ground. Whatever you can do, we need it. So give us your talent if it is that you want a better Jamaica for yourself, for your generations to come. So the bank account, we will continue on behalf of the people to get a bank account in the name of the UIC. Until then, we do have a PC bank it does facilitate online banking. You can do your donations there. Go to the UIC Jamaica page, click donate, and you will see the details there. You'll find the closest PC branch. There are very few across Jamaica. and you make a donation. If you can't bother like that, like myself, then we have a donated account that has been graciously granted to us by the president, which he wants to really do away with. And we have our own account, but if the banking system not giving us what we're going to do. Now, as the treasurer would have already explained, um, the account of the UIC is managed. Um, we're so transparent that we even tell you our business. You don't hear that from the other political parties. So every transaction that occurs is seen by the finance committee, which is independent of the NEC, by the way. It's mostly members in the diaspora. Um, there are also there's also the treasurer on it, and key members of NEC, but mostly members of the diaspora who are not here and who would have had experience in accounting at high level. So these are subject matter experts. Just like we want subject matter experts in our cabinet, we have subject matter experts in the finance committee who look at everything. And then after they would have viewed it, then the NEC as a body views it and sends it to the independent auditor. We have to pay these people money, they don't owe we nothing. And after we pay these people their money to check their accounts and ensure everything is all right, it goes to the ECJ and they do their check.
And
So, yes.
That same account, the bank account that everybody is talking about, that also has to be audited. So
Yes.
yeah.
So you can rest assured that your monies are safe and that the donated bank account is under the purview of the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, and they don't have anything to do with UIC. In fact, the commission is boarded by members of the two major political parties. So the name on the account does not prevent them from doing their job, nor us from doing our job. But if you cannot trust us because of the rumors that are going around, I'm sure you can trust JLP and PNP who want to maintain power to keep us on the right ground. All right, so we still will move forward for the bank account. But if the banking system will not give us an account, we have to make do with what we have. If you still uncomfortable, then you are always welcome to go to a PC bank. But what is important is that every single Jamaican needs to get on board, because Naika and Chase and Winston and Joseph Patterson and Jasmine Powell and all the members of the NEC, not going to call all of them, cannot do it alone. The candidates on the ground cannot do it alone. We need you, we need us, we need everybody stronger together. We need the funding to get it done. We need the manpower and the woman power to get it done. So, if you want it done, let us get it done together. Thank you for joining us. As usual, rate us out of 10. 10 if we're very good, 1 if we're worthless.
Yeah, and we also need persons to pretty much identify or point out, areas where they think we can be better, even if it's to make the life a bit more engaging for persons. So, yeah.
Yes, and indicate if you want to help us present on a live, if you have any expertise in any of the subjects, you and can make it more lively. So we welcome you. All right, so how do you grade us out of 10? All right, while that is going on, thank you for joining us. Enjoy your night or your afternoon or your morning, whatever time it is where you are. And remember, let us work together for one Jamaica, stronger together. See you on the next one. Take care. Walk good, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Good night.